We'll try to push drugs to keep us all dumbed down and hope that they will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, another package lie to keep us trapped in greed. Another green bells wrapped around our minds, an endless red tape to keep the truth confined. They will not force us. They will stop degrading us. They will not control us. We will be victorious.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Postmortem Breakdown. Here
I
is
have
Joy.
my special guest. Here's my Dia de los Duchess. There she is. Aw. Say happy Halloweener. Say happy Halloweener. Look at her
Duchess is
little
like,
shirt.
what are you doing?
Huh?
Duchess is like, what is going on?
Stop using me for your entertainment. But look, you match me. You're so cute. Look at you, so cute. I told her she'd get a treat.
Okay.
My little Dia de los Duchess. So what did you do for Halloweener?
Went to a couple of house parties. What did you do?
I went out dancing.
Nice.
Yes, with my husband, who I taught, and I don't know, depending how old you guys are or where you live, but we back in Philly, we have a dance called the stanky leg,
Ooh,
and
remind me
I
of
taught my
something.
husband how to do a stanky leg.
Nice.
So that was kind of huge.
Yeah, there was a song called Stanky Leg.
Yes.
Do the stanky leg, do the stanky leg. Oh, Jenna has COVID. No, that's not good.
No! God damn it.
It is making a resurgence. I had it like a month ago.
Yeah, my mother-in-law has
Or
it.
maybe a month and a half ago now. Yeah,
I've had it like 3 fucking times.
Yeah, I've had it at least 3 times. Yeah.
Bananas.
It's gotten to the point where it's like I don't necessarily need to be tested. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
COVID.
right.
Like, there's a distinct, and it's not like every time I've gotten it, it's been like terrible, but there is sort of some sort of difference that you can feel between that and a cold. It's like the talkiness or whatever of just,
and the lethargia, like
the lethargia. Yeah.
so lethargic. I'm just like, oh, my muscles ache and I just don't want to do anything, and it's
Can't
just,
really think clearly. You're just sort of like,
oh my
like,
god,
you can't focus on anything for like
it's that brain fog. Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry to hear that, Jenna. That's rough. But
That sucks a big turkey. Well, we're gonna have, this is the 3rd year we've done Halloweener shows together. I've done it for 7 years. Since I've done my show, I've always done a Halloweener show. And usually we try to make it fun because, hello, we're in like Super Mario Brother and, fun costumes. But there's only so much fun we can have right now. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to enjoy this right now. But then we are going to, we have to get into some deep stuff as usual. But I still thought it was important to have a little fun and dress up because, it's okay to like go out and have fun and have some Halloweener time and stuff like that, because starting Wednesday, it's all going to be about Christmas. And with my name, like when your name is Joy, you hate Christmas. You hate it. Because you see your name everywhere. Everyone's like, Joy, joy to the world, joy to the world. And you're just like, okay, I hate my life. So Christmas, the capitalistic hellscape, starts November 1st. So let's just enjoy Halloweener and have some smiles. But yes, Andrew, what is first?
So first, we'll start on a positive note, like we've been doing. The UAW has won massive gains in its tentative agreement with Ford, like a 68% increase in the starting wage, a 150% increase for temp workers, and improvements unlike anything seen in decades.
Yes.
And so this is now the deals have been made now with the big three. So this is Ford in particular. And so this has actually been updated now. GM and Stellantis, I believe, have a deal. But Ford started negotiations by offering a 9% wage increase, 6-year progression to top wage, 12,000 in COLA bonuses, no changes to its 6.4% 401k contribution. But then the UNW launched a historic and creative strike. They shut down select plants at select times to apply maximum pressures. Now Ford has agreed to a 25% wage increase, a 3-year progression to top wage, and COLA formula from before the Great Recession, which will raise the top wage by 33%. 9.5% employer contribution to 401k. It's more than double, I think, right? Temp workers
Holy
who are
fucking
making
shit.
yeah. So temp workers who are making $16 an hour will more than double their wages over the life of the contract, 150% increase. Full-time workers will see an immediate 11% wage increase. The starting wage is going up by 68% to over $28 an hour. So 16 to 28. That is life-changing. This
Yeah.
contains more wage increases than over the last 22 years combined. And so yeah. It's not just strikes that have immense power and that unions can win big for their members, that creative discipline unions that put their members first and are willing to fight for what their members need can move mountains. Kudos to UAW. You know, it was interesting, and I had never actually thought about this, but if you remember, like last year and a half ago, right, there were a lot of graduate student workers who were joining the UAW, right?
Yeah.
They were unionizing. And Ryan Grimm made a point that, if it weren't for a lot of the graduate student workers who had come into the UAW, they may not have elected someone like Sean Fain, who was very much left,
Yeah, way more. Yeah.
So that's really interesting to think about in terms of how, in this case, that did have an impact when you had essentially college students that got much more into unions and how that just changed the whole dynamic.
Because what we're seeing is in all areas across the states, is younger people are more and more quote unquote left. We're seeing more young people about, anti-capitalism, about unions, about the environment, about peace. We're seeing these, the younger people are really, really like basically already fed up by learning the history of what's going on, even in present day. And they are changing things, and it's pretty fucking awesome.
And, it just shows when you're constantly, and this kind of segues into our next topic, but when you have, a lot of traditional age college students, and we talk about like 18 to 24 is that age, right? All they've seen is wars, right?
Yeah.
So when all they've seen is wars, that tends to kind of move people left when they're like, they see the military industrial complex working time and time again. So that's kind of how it all intersects in one way, right?
And it's so, and I know I've said this before, but it's just like, I cannot imagine what a different person I would be if I learned these things before 2015. I mean, my whole life would have been different. But then in 2015, like millions of us, I'm like, holy fuck. And then we got woken up, and then now we've been more and more and more radicalized, and more and more and more. And I'm like, I look back at 2015 and I'm like, I thought I was progressive. What the hell am I now then? I'm like a fucking, I don't know, like an anarchist or something. I don't fucking know. You know, it's just like, you know, we used to say progressive, and like even people like the Squad are still being called progressive. It's like, yeah, we are way beyond that. That's no.
Right. Brett says the lobbyists make contributions to both the left and the right. It's like Orwell said, the one party, there's no left or right, just a charade and facade. Yeah, and that's, I wanted to clarify. Absolutely. When I say left, I'm not talking about left quote unquote left, American left politicians. Right. Like, I'm not talking about Democrats or Republicans. I'm talking more on like ideology and values, right? So when it comes to having worker rights, democratizing the workplace, right, that is more rooted in leftist socialist values. So that's the term I'm using, just to clarify.
Yeah, we never use the term left for Democrats, like ever. Yeah. Ever. Right. No, they're like,
I do not consider them left wing
at best.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, so that's a great, and, you know, I think Sean Fain even said, right, he even acknowledged, this is now a class war, and we're fighting back.
Hell yeah.
And so, absolutely.
He's a badass. I love him. I absolutely love him.
And the thing that was best, and of course this just comes from me not keeping tabs with the UAW like this, you know, till something like the big 3 strike happened. But I mean, at least from my perspective, this dude just came out of the woodwork and suddenly was just like not messing around.
Like, guns blazing, man. He came out like just fiery as hell. And you know what's funny? The thing I love is like he looks like such a you know, like this like typical businessman type person, and then he's like, you know what? Like, fuck the establishment. Like, you know what I mean? He's so I just love him. He's so great.
Yeah. He had me when he first started and was like, yeah, he went on like national television and was like, yeah, billionaires shouldn't exist.
Yeah, like, oh my God, more of this. Yes.
So now going to more solemn topics. So Joy brought this up. So thousands of Palestinians who broke into UN food warehouses in the besieged Gaza Strip are scared, frustrated, and desperate after 3 weeks of war, says director of UN Palestinian Refugee Agency. Should I play the video?
Yeah.
All right, let me go back to the beginning.
We have no flour, no aid, no water, not even toilets. Our houses were destroyed. No one cares about us. We appeal to the people of the world. All international powers are against us. We needed aid, and we wouldn't have done this if we weren't in need.
So, you know, of course, when I see this, my response was good, all caps and shit like that, because look, these people lost their families, they lost their homes, they lost everything. They're living like sardines in this freaking place with thousands of them on top of each other. They have no food, no water, no internet, and they broke in to take food that's supposed to be theirs anyway. So the fuck what? Yes, good. Like, that's my stance. To me, you're not stealing. That shit's supposed to be yours. That was there for you. They're just not giving it to you. So that's my stance. And I had a dude on Twitter who I've known for probably at least 7 years on Twitter and Facebook. And he said to me, stop. And I was like, what? And he's like, stop. They took food that was supposed to be spread out for other people. And I'm like, okay, look, let's just break down the fact that the UN, their last several votes, United States has voted against giving more aid. So let's just start there. And United States superseded the other ones who voted yes. It's a fact. There's videos, there's articles. Okay, so this aid was not going to them. This aid was in a fucking warehouse, sitting there while they are starving to death.
Wow.
So that's first off. Second off, you're telling me you are starving, literally starving. You're watching people blown up around you, including your family, and you're just going to know that there's a warehouse of food right by you and you're not going to take it? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you that privileged? You cannot fathom that you would go and take some fucking food that the United States said they were supposed to be giving you anyway? And like the video said, there were thousands of them that went in and got bags of rice and stuff. That's how much food was in there. That's how much. I mean, you see them huge bags of rice and stuff that they're just coming out. They had all that sitting there. That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And the only people that should be ashamed are the UN and the United States for letting it sit there in a fucking warehouse when these people are right there starving. So you are privileged as fuck if you are going to shame anyone for trying to survive.
Yeah. And I mean, I think before this, right? 50% of people in Gaza are unemployed, right? 60.
60% of people in Gaza have been unemployed for years.
So to be honest, like, it's like this, that was them, quote unquote, by default and better. And now you can only imagine what's happening. I mean, the unemployment rate has to be higher than that right now. I mean, yeah. So
right, there's nobody's working there. They're just trying to fucking survive.
Right, it's like all survival mode now. Like,
and they did have aid before this last thing, October 7th, even though it's been going on 75 years and primarily the past 16, they did have some aid that's equivalent to like food banks in Gaza. However, on October 7th, the United States stopped it. So the only way they will get even one piece of rice is if the United States tells the UN to give it to them, which they have specifically voted against. So all that food was sitting in there doing nothing, just collecting dust. And people are starving to death, and you're saying, no, they shouldn't have taken it? Get the fuck out of here, dude. Seriously. Like, come on.
So I wanted to bring up something that was striking to me. Now that we're going back to the U.S. now and regards to the protests that are happening, and so, as some suspected last week, the NYPD has been using drones to surveil pro-Palestine protests, make arrests, and build cases, and they straight up admit to using the drones to identify and track individual protesters already on police radar. And here is a New York Post article, right? And so let me just let me go back up here. Yeah, so the NYPD used its drones 13 times to make 239 arrests during the demonstrations that erupted last week over the Hamas-Israel war, and could, but that framing, all right, and could bust.
Yeah, I was like, what?
It's the New York Post, so what do you expect? But
Yeah,
and could bust more people caught breaking the law on video. NYPD officials said, "We got the whole thing on video," Assistant Commissioner Kaz Daughtry said of pro-Palestinian protesters in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, who clashed with cops, throwing bottles, fireworks, and eggs at them on October 21st. We'll be turning that evidence over to the Brooklyn DA's office to help enhance the arrests. Yeah, and so the drones also helped the NYPD get ahead of protesters who were believed to be en route to Congresswoman Nicole Maliotakis' office. We were able to get ahead of that because we knew which way they were going, Daughtry said, noting the drone footage was streamed to the Joint Operations Center at One Police Plaza in Manhattan, which notified an incident commander in the field. You have people who are embedding themselves in a peaceful protest who are there because they're maybe anti-police or whatever their issue is, he said. Okay, those are criminals, and it's dealt with in a different way than typical peaceful protests. Huh. Okay. That's that last part's a little disturbing. Like, yeah. Oh, they're just, because they just have a certain opinion and ideology, we're not going to arrest them based on any action they're doing. We're just going to immediately assume that they're guilty. That's kind of how I read that.
Yeah.
Which is extremely unconstitutional. But I think people are showing their true colors right now, where people are advocating to censor anyone who is who so much as says that Palestinian lives matter, right? And so, yeah, people don't really seem to care about fundamental rights in any capacity right now.
Yeah, the same people that talk about free speech day in and day out are so completely okay with the silencing of, Palestinian voices and Jewish voices who are supporting Palestine.
Right.
The arrests are just like, if you follow me on Twitter, you'd see yesterday I just posted there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the Golden Gate Bridge, and at the end of it there were militarized police, like the kinds we saw in Dapple, like the tan and like the like SWAT face thing, and like the the bulletproof jackets, and like legit ready to go to war. And I'm like, dude, we're protesting for peace. Like, right. We're literally saying stop violence, and you think you need fucking militarized police? That is so beyond fucked up. Because the thing is, primarily people of color protesting, and they don't like that. I mean, that's first step. Let's get all the police out there. We always know that. It happens every fucking time. But then that's why it's so important that we as protesters, as organizers, as activists, always remain peaceful and calm. It is hard. It is hard. Sometimes you want to be like, why aren't you understanding this? This is about humanity. Why don't you get it? Sometimes it's really difficult, but you have to think the whole world is watching. If you go out of line and you say one thing, they will use that, they will exploit it, and now all the Free Palestine rallies have a bad rap. Because unfortunately, that's how shit is. Yeah. There are so many people who are looking for one of us to fuck up, looking
Mhm.
for one of us to be like, excuse me, fuck you, or something. And then next thing you know, it goes viral and it
Yeah.
hurts the movement. Unfortunately,
Right.
it happens every time there's a movement. It does.
Yeah. Which, funny enough, in a little bit, we'll be talking about something specifically that found at a college campus that is very harmful for the movement and is
Very,
extremely blatantly anti-Semitic and should be called out, because this is.
very.
But I think time to switch back to the protesting of a specific politician, one of Joy's favorites, John Fetterman.
What's the quote say?
So I just took on. Oh, sorry. So Brett was saying the Zionists have been using protest footage to target, dox, and go after protesters here in Canada. I brought this up just because that's also happening too in the U.S.
Right.
I mean, there's people who are very much getting doxxed, fired from their jobs for being in solidarity with people in Gaza, right? And so, yeah,
Here's a kicker for you. For those who have watched my show, you guys know I've been to East Palestine a number of times in Ohio, and I've been helping them out. Well, the last time I was there protesting, drones were watching us, okay? There were like 15 of us. And we were standing there with our cardboard signs saying, you know, everyone deserves clean water and clean air, and they have drones over top of us. Like, are you for real? So would they have drones over these huge ass marches? Fuck yeah. God, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this guy, Dan Kovalik, he says, I just took on John Fetterman for his failure to support a ceasefire for Gaza and was assaulted. Come see the violence inherent in the system. Yeah, so this is just, let's just watch.
Support a humanitarian ceasefire. No, I'm with the team. If you like, I can talk to you. No, I can talk. I voted for him. I'm sorry. This is a democracy. It absolutely is. Yeah, but kind of, sort of. Why? 10,000 people in Gaza have been killed. Half are children. The Pope's calling for a ceasefire. The UN is called for it. I'm just asking you. You're a good guy. I voted for you. I know you're a nice guy. This is important. You need to leave. Here, can I give you a phone? I asked you a question. I asked you a question.
He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him. He just assaulted him. He was just talking to him. He's assaulted him.
Now, okay, my blind ass, was that John who pushed him out?
No, it was
his security goon.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And so that was what I was going to say. I mean, I think what upsets me the most is that Fetterman just sort of let it happen and sort of was like, okay, take care of it and go. It literally was just almost like his henchman, just because he could have easily said, no, it's fine. I'll talk to him. And politicians even have done that, right?
Absolutely.
When somebody has come up and they say, like, push, they're like, no, it's okay. We'll talk, right? And then, they may say something that you don't agree with, right? And it might be an argument, but still at least there's giving the respect of just engaging, right? But he didn't even do that.
But he's like, I already got his vote. But the dude's like, come on, dude. He's like, you're a good guy. No, he's not. Dude, no, he's not.
That even just shows how fragile it is, right?
He said, you're a good guy. I voted for you. You're a good guy.
Like, nope. Yeah. And so.
Like, are you, like, it's the same as if he went up and was like, fuck you. They treated him the same way.
They treat it. It's like you're giving a dissenting opinion, particularly a dissenting opinion that's a very hot topic that, and yeah, you can't do that in a democracy, apparently.
Well, Fetterman, and I've protested him numerous times prior about his environmental for environmentalist reasons, but you know, his tweets have been so fucking egregious. And last Sunday, myself and a bunch of Palestinian immigrants and also us who stand in solidarity protested Fetterman because I'm in the Harrisburg area, and he had tweets that were just absolutely disgusting, just racist and repulsive. Now is not the time for ceasefire and stuff like that. And it was like a 4-tweet thread. We covered it on the show last week. And obviously, Palestinian people were incredibly upset. And many of them did vote for him, as they were saying, like, I voted for this guy. And one woman I was talking to, she's like, I phone banked for him. I can't believe he's saying this shit. Well, then 2 days ago, he goes on Twitter and someone put Free Palestine. And he goes, this is disgusting. Excuse me? Like, and then he has, he showed this picture of his office, and he has pictures of all the hostages in Israel, okay, and their date of birth and their full names and stuff. Okay, that's fine. But where's the 10,000 Palestinians who are being held hostage in Israel? Because nobody fucking talks about them ever.
No.
And can we just like all agree on the fact that if there's no ceasefire, these hostages are going to get fucking killed.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be like, oh my God, hostages are killed. And we're going to be like, yeah, by Israel. Because you said you wouldn't stop ceasefire. You wouldn't have a ceasefire. I mean, when you're blowing up Palestinians and you're saying they have these and they have these hostages, do you think the bombs are just going to not hit the hostages? Of course they fucking are.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want ceasefire.
Right. I want to just kind of go back real quick to specifically John Fetterman, because, and this is one of the things where you kind of know, but it's always good to get specific receipts on, right? And so when he was running in the primary, Connor Lamb was one of his major opponents, and Connor Lamb was really trying to get super PAC money, apparently, but because John Fetterman was working with, drafting his like very pro-Israel stance, Connor Lamb did not get the super PAC money that he was looking for, and that was what helped John Fetterman win the primary and then go on to winning the Senate seat.
Fetterman's received over $200,000 from AIPAC.
Right. Yeah. And I think that goes because I think a lot of people were saying, right, and I think you particularly also were saying, like, if he really was left, this would have been a lot harder for him to win a primary than it was, right? But then you see him taking pictures with Hillary Clinton, right? Or not, maybe not pictures, but her endorsing him, and now it's like completely clear as day, right?
Also, the thing is, those of us in Pennsylvania have known him for years. Like, we all know the dude. And, the thing is, well, first of all, I had him on my show, and he's legit lied to me about fracking. And then they used my footage on the PA debate to call him out. But the thing is, those of us in PA know that literally, like, within the month before the primaries, Biden came to fucking Philadelphia and had a huge ass banquet fundraiser for Fetterman. Biden. Okay. So enough of this. Like, seriously, Biden. You think Biden and Hillary are going to campaign for someone who has even a molecule of progressive or leftist in them? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Insane.
No, I mean, Jenna was saying Summer Lee had super pat cash thrown against her, and she still won. My polling place didn't even have ballots with her name on them. Well, that, I mean, I didn't know that latter part, that they didn't have her name on that. That sounds
Yeah, I remember. Because Jenna was texting me like, what the fuck's going on at my polling place?
Yeah. And then, Jenna was saying she's a disappointment too, but point being, it does sound like, though, that Summer Lee is at least better on this issue than Fetterman. Not that it takes
She
much.
is better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of.
She was, I guess, seen as a threat to have Super PAC and APAC go against her, right? I guess it was, which.
Well, and then I was like, Bernie's Twitter posts are just, I mean, I don't think my heart could be broken in any more pieces. But he's like, he says something that's like 95% okay, and then he throws in this little like curveball, and it's just like, he's like, he refuses to say ceasefire now, but he'll like use comparable words, and then he'll also say, but Israel, and like, and the thing is, I just keep posting these videos and articles about how Bibi Netanyahu asked Bernie to go to Israel, and Bernie's a dual citizen. To be clear, he's Jewish, and he used to live in Israel for a time. I think it was less than a year, but while he was in college, he has dual citizenship. And Netanyahu asked Bernie to come and do an APAC thing with him, and he would give him money for his campaign. Bernie was like, hell no. And instead stayed in the States and gave a whole speech about how we need to help Palestine. I will never forget that, ever. Then in 2020, that was 2016. In 2020, he did it again. What? It's not that far. It didn't happen that long ago. Like, come on, dude. What happened? Why are you suddenly not fighting for Palestinians? Why? We literally had a group, Palestinians for Bernie. Literally. No lie.
Wow. Yeah.
And the number one reason was because he kept speaking out on how they were being treated and how they were being starved and bombed and beaten and raped. And he kept speaking out on it. And now, really? I'm just like, yeah, the whole fucking Ukraine thing, okay. But this is antithetical to everything he has ever said to us about Palestine.
So, wanted to bring up something that is not great, is not good to see at all. So, currently on a Cornell discussion forum, the kosher dining hall.
Cornell University.
Yes, not Cornell West, Cornell University. The kosher dining hall 104 West is now on lockdown, and Jewish students are scared to leave their rooms. And some of the comments that are seeing is if you see a Jewish quote unquote person on campus, follow them home and slit their throats. Rats need to be eliminated from Cornell. So this is very disturbing that we have.
And didn't it say free Palestine?
Huh?
Didn't it say like free Palestine in their message?
Well, this one says posted kill Jews, Jew evil. One of them, I don't know. There's a few different comments here. The second one, hold on. Well, one of them says, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Glory to Hamas, liberation by any means necessary." Posted by Kill Jews.
Right. So that immediately, this person wants people to think they're aligned with us.
Right.
And there is literally no pro-Palestinian person who would ever say something that, like, it just wouldn't happen. Ever.
So I'm not at all. I'm looking at specifically the quotes. I'm not at all going off of what this person specifically might be their viewpoint. I'm just saying these comments are disgusting.
They are.
They are, despite the fact that they are very anti-Semitic and they are very harmful to Jewish people. It also then feeds into the fact that now people can make it easier to conflate what we're fighting for versus what these Nazis are fighting for, right? Which is, and so, yeah, that is that. I just wanted to bring up because that is a real thing and concern, and that has no place. And yeah, Jenna, that is in Ithaca, New York, Cornell University. They actually had there was a huge riot, Cornell riots in 1969, which led to a lot of, ironically, the Koch brothers and many other, like, billionaires to funnel money into these college curriculums because they were like, oh, colleges are feeding too much left-wing ideology.
Right.
And so, yeah, just a sidebar there. But yeah. All right. So next we're going to talk about
and before I forget, tomorrow night I have 3 shows in a row this week, but tomorrow night I have 2 guests from Jewish Voice for Peace. They're incredible. They were 2 of our Jewish brothers and sisters who were arrested in DC for protesting in the Capitol for Free Palestine. So I'll be talking to them tomorrow night about, the talking points that you are anti-Semitic if you support Palestine and things like that, and how Jewish Voices for Peace is specifically saying, do not use our pain and our strife to rationalize the genocide of a people. So we'll be talking about that. It's going to be a great conversation. They're incredible people, so definitely tune in for that.
Yeah. All right. So you wanted to show this clip? I'll just play it.
Please. Can I ask you to lower this flag, please?
Why is that?
Because the club are not politically sided either way.
Yeah, but it was okay when it was Ukraine, though, wasn't it?
I absolutely agree with you. That's what the argument we've had. But we've been asked to bring these flags down. Please, we don't mind. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
So that's one of the videos. And so essentially, this gentleman, I talked to this gentleman last night after I watched the videos, and I just told him his post. Can you bring up his actual post? That his tweet just really broke my heart. It really did.
At least he was understanding, but shows what's wrong with the world.
No, the initial tweet.
This is what I have. Let me go back and see.
Yeah, I hit up this gentleman last night and I was just like, it just really, it sucked. It really bothered me. Here it is. No. Damn it. Okay, here it is. This is the original.
Notice as well. Thank you for sorting that. It's so reassuring to be going back there tomorrow, knowing that some of Anfield will be standing by me and the others who got rushed on Thursday. They can't kick us all out all at this time.
No. It's the I'm sending it to you.
Great.
It's the initial one. Yes, we'll show that one after because that's the update. But just sent you this one. This is the initial tweet. This gentleman was actually kicked out. Not for being rude or physical. He was literally kicked out of the game for holding a Free Palestine flag.
So last night, the club that I've adored since I was 5 has broken me. Everything I thought we stood for felt like a farce. So much for YNWA and freedom of speech. I travel up 3 hours every home game, even when I can't get a ticket, just to be in the city for game.
That rips my heart out. Like, because this is a guy whose like whole life was supporting this, and it just breaks my heart. Like, it's not the same, but it does kind of remind me of like when you go see a performer or like a band or something and they say something, you're just like, oh, I can't like them anymore. You know what I mean? And you're like, wow, like I literally lost all respect for them. Every time I listen to them, I'm going to think about how betrayed I feel. But yeah, so that happened. And then there's an update to what this gentleman and his friend did the next day.
So on such short notice as well, thank you for sorting that. It's so reassuring to be going back there tomorrow, knowing
It's
that
not
some of the
showing.
Huh?
It's not showing.
Yep. Okay, but that's the one, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Great. On such short notice as well, thank you for sorting that. Haas, OFC 97. It's so reassuring to be going back there tomorrow, knowing that some of Anfield will be standing by me and the others who got rushed on Thursday. They can't kick us all out this time.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, so there's like that guy, if you stop, okay, can you put it back? Never mind, you already cleared it. There's a stack of Free Palestine flags that they printed out, tons, and they just went back and handed them out to everyone. And they're like, kick us all out.
Yeah.
So that's fucking awesome. That is so awesome. My heart breaks for him though. He was so sweet when I reached out to him, and I asked him to come on the show to do this segment, and he was a little trepidatious, and I understand. So I just said, know that we are definitely in solidarity with him, and he has our empathy and support for sure. But I think that's like a really good example of how, you're just going to a game and you're like, cool, I'm with a bajillion people. I want to show solidarity with someone who's being genocided, and that gets you kicked out. People are making this a political issue, and it's not. There's nothing political about this.
Well, politics is life.
Yeah.
Biden issues sweeping executive order on AI. So would you like me to go through and read this?
Yeah.
All right, it's showing, right? Okay, great. All right. So President Biden issued a highly anticipated sweeping executive order on artificial intelligence on Monday, focusing on seizing on the emerging technology and managing its risks. The order includes several new actions which focus on areas like safety, privacy, protecting workers, and protecting innovation. President Biden believes that we have an obligation to harness the power of AI for good while protecting people from its potentially profound risks, a senior administration official told reporters. The executive order includes new standards for safety, including requiring companies developing models that pose a serious risk to national security, economic security, or public health to notify the federal government when training the model, and they must share the results of all safety tests. The Commerce Department will also develop guidance for content authentication and watermarking to label AI-generated content. The order directs federal agencies to accelerate the development of techniques so AI systems can be trained while preserving the privacy of the training data. The order will also evaluate how agencies collect and use commercially available information containing personal data. To support workers, the order develops principles and best practices to mitigate the harms and maximize the benefits AI creates for workers by addressing issues including job displacement, labor standards, and data collection. The order also aims to promote innovation and competition through a pilot of a tool, the National AI Research Resource, that will expand grants for AI research in areas such as healthcare and climate change. It will also use existing authorities to expand the ability of highly skilled immigrants and non-immigrants with expertise in these critical areas to study, stay, and work in the U.S. by streamlining visa criteria and interviews. Do you want me to say anything more or read anything more?
No, that's okay. But before I speak on it, I want to know what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like I really need to look into the specifics on it. It seems to, from what I was reading, that it came from a play like an idea of we need to create limitations on AI because of the risks of losing jobs, of it really going too much into our data's privacy, right? But that's one of those things where the proof is in the pudding, right? You have to look a little bit more in to really make a determination. But on the face value, I'm seeing it as like, okay, this looks like something that could be good. But also, I don't trust Joe Biden. So
that's exactly, Andrew. Because I was like, okay, but I want to read it myself first of all because the article could be slanted. Who knows? But
exactly,
I'm like, all right, it doesn't. Okay, maybe. But then I'm like, okay. Then I got this image of like, how when you're like talking to someone and in your house and all of a sudden a Facebook ad comes up for the exact thing that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this could absolutely be one of those. Like just a way to keep even more tabs because it implies it's going to be very much to help workers, but this is someone who like doesn't even support workers demanding higher wages and stuff like this. So to me, this sounds way more like a tracker.
It could be. Yeah.
And like a way to, make it legal. And I mean, here's the thing. It's an executive order. Like he literally signed it and it's in place. It's not a bill or anything. He literally made a priority, signed it, it's done. So the fact that he made that expeditious choice, I don't know. Kind of worries me. Is it going to give us more of those like robot dogs in New York City that are so freaking terrifying?
We'll see. Yeah, it's one of those things where can't comment too much on it until I find out more and then see. But
yeah, we'll have to actually get a hold of the executive order.
Yeah. So that's this week. The horrors. Happy Halloween. Yeah. What do you got coming up?
So I've shows the next 2 nights, really good ones. As I said, tomorrow night, definitely tune in. Andrew's friend, who he hooked me up with, Eli, and one of their comrades, EM, she will be joining as well. And the three of us will be talking about Jewish Voices for Peace and their arrests in the Capitol to free Palestine. And we're going to talk about why the chant's not in our name, why we always chant that, what it means to them. And then we're going to talk about trying to debunk some of these, these generalizations that people are saying about you can't support Israel without being anti-Semitic and things like that. We're going to break these down, and I'm going to talk to 2 people who are very involved in Free Palestine and very proud of their Jewish heritage at the same time. So I think this is amazing. I'm looking forward to it. Wednesday, I have 2 people coming on, and they're from Merchants of Death. And that's an organization that's an anti-war movement. And they have members all over the globe. And they're going to protest the Pentagon again and on November the 8th. So we're going to be talking about their work and, what this protest is going to entail. They're like no stranger to arrest. They are very much into civil disobedience. And they're just wonderful people. So tune in for that as well. Smash the like button, smash subscribe, smash the share, and give your animals a big hug and kiss. And have a happy Halloweener. If I could give you candy through the screen, I would.
Yes.
You too, Mario. Mario.
Mario loves his candy.
And his mushrooms.
And all right. And
oh my God, Andrew! That just made me think. Okay, we'll end it on a funny. Everybody likes when we end it on a funny. The first time I ever talked to Andrew.
Oh no, we're not gonna go there. All right.
I sent him a DM because we were doing like group shows together, and I was like, I get such good energy with you. You're such a sweetheart. And
yeah.
I was like, what'd you do this weekend? He's like,
cut.
Yeah. He had a fun story.
See y'all later.
But